Hey everybody, it's Tafony here once again. Hope you're doing well. We're doing a bit of a different episode of Rambling About here today, where I'm going to try and talk about what's going on in the Eurotrack Octatrack live performance case sort of deal that I have going on here. The one that I played in my most recent set. I'll post a link to that video as well. But I kind of wanted to answer some questions about what I did and changes I think I'm going to make after doing so, where we can talk about all that. And I'm also sort of hoping to pick the community's brain as well a little bit. Let me know what you think, what would be a good fit, some other ideas you might share. And then at the end of this, I think I'm going to post where I think I'm going to re-rack to, talk about things that worked well and didn't, and all of that jazz. So, like I said, I'm probably going to break the formula a little bit today. I hope you'll bear with me. Some things are remaining the same, but there are some big changes. So we might include a jam here at the beginning. We might not. We'll just have to see. But for now, I'm going to jump right in and talk about it on the broadest of levels. So before I do that, one thing, because I don't have any 1U row elsewhere here, I have the Crest of Stars racked up. I will show you on screen now what I actually brought to the most recent gig at Grey Lab, where I was using the IntelliGel stereo in 1U, as well as a FSR, which is the force sensing resistor, the 1U CV control, and then I had a 4-channel mixer as well. That was on stage. Caress of Stars can't go anywhere else on my rig currently, so when I was doing that video, it has to go here, and it may very well stay here because I don't see myself using that in place of the Hermod, but I also really liked it, so I'm kind of trying to grapple with that. And so again, that's kind of where I might put it up to y'all and ask what do you think where things could go. So before I get to asking those questions, I want to talk about generally what happened before. You probably saw I had the Palette 104, which was the 4U, basically this case, but not with this top row, as well as a 6U ALM 52 HP case. I love that size. I still have that one, but the issue for me with taking that to a gig is there's no gig bag, there's no deck saver. I know they make one, but they don't have it anywhere in Canada. I didn't want to spend the crazy import fees to get it here. And I was I brought it to a gig previously. I brought it to the Synth meets. Those were one thing where I was just literally in a reusable shopping bag carrying, a Eurotrack case full of all this stuff. I did that at the live stream I did with B-Side Radio, but I just am too nervous to do that at a live gig, in a sort of club. Now, no one showed up. That's okay. This is part of grinding your teeth for, getting into this sort of thing. But, I was just I don't want to end up with 700 different bags in a small venue where I would very easily misplace them or forget to bring them home, what have you, or they'll get damaged. I'm carrying all these things. So I figured it was time, ironically, to once again move back to the performance case, which I have done once again. So if I can just show you right now, this has nothing to do with the live gig, but it's part of why I moved back to this, because it is in every video. You'll see this is on top of my Mega Rack, and I opted for this one not only because I need the 1U row for the X-Fade 1U, but because the way this one stands, and maybe we'll even take this off of the iPad stand, we'll just have to see, but because of the way this physically has the stands that fold out, I can use it to just stack directly on top of the Mega Rack, which is super appreciated, but also kind of makes it into this almost table thing here, which I actually love. Sorry, I'm out of the camera. Hi, everyone. I actually really love ergonomically where this ended up landing, and I thought it was going to be super goofy, and I was okay, well, there's really only one way to truly know until you get there. I actually love it because right now I've set this up sort of the same way I was rocking things live, but looking at it now, I'm there's room if I want to bring up my key step to play keyboards. I have the Novation Peak for an upcoming episode out here. If I want to play my Eurotrack with a keyboard, or I want to throw other stuff, I want to drop in, I don't know, a drum machine or something unrelated here, there's room to do so on here, or just for this video, Metal Fetishes can go on there. This Live Track 6 is probably going to stay here, but we'll talk about that more in a second. Okay, so I've got the fisheye on here today to hopefully fit everything in here. What hasn't changed since the last video is Hermod Plus is still the main sequencer, and what I have done, maybe the structure of this video will go in and load. I did change up some of the sequences, but some of them stayed the same. And one thing that's been the same in the first time I ever played a show, the live stream I did for B-side and this most recent video, there's a part in the set on this certain sequence I'm going to try and find here that everyone seems to enjoy, or at least that's the part when everybody pulls their phone out and films. So whenever I've looked back, I'm like, oh, somebody tagged you in the story or whatever. It's always this specific part in the set. So let's see if we can find that. I believe it is on the RoboCop one. So I've named all my projects. Hopefully you can see them. I doubt you actually can, but if you go in, I've named all of these with their corresponding presets on the LXR. So I can come in and recall both a sequence on the Hermod side and load it in a preset on the LXR side. So RoboCop on that side and LXR on that side. Let's unmute that. Got some data bender going as always, and then I'll talk more about the specific workflow. Yep. Talk about all these different, I have so many small, this part in the set. And I actually think I am going to try and record this in some manner. I don't know if it's going to end up with lyrics. There's another discussion that I need to have about what the live set looks like. What the live set looks like, if it's going to have vocals at some point. Is it going to be a blend? Will I do, I don't know, live instrumentals versus live vocals or what? But I do want to put this out in a recorded fashion some way because I really like it. But this is the part where, after like all the videos I received of the synth meet were of this part in the set, all the videos I received from Grey Lab after, they were all this part in the set. I think there's just like a jungle vibe to it, you know? If that's the right word. And that super digital LXR preset, it just, there's something raw. All the stuff has energy. Anyway. That's how I'm recalling things. And again, the big macro crossfade here is between those Hermod sequences. I'll talk about the different synth voices in a moment, but if I crossfade over here, and this, again, I'm missing some of my 1U modules because of the Crest of Stars, but I have Metal Fetishist coming in, boosted up to Eurotrack level on the left side, sequenced by the Ecto Core, which isn't my preference, but Ecto Core refuses to take external clocks because of software issues. Forgive me, this is not the right patch or the right mixing, but I just want to demonstrate what we have going on. So in the set, there's all these big transitions, and Ghost is kind of my macro effect. So I like to just flood it with reverb or data bender, or both. And the clock for the data bender is always coming from the Hermod, which I thought was going to be a big problem. And in the set, I found there was never times where I was data bending this side of things, the Metal Fetishist and the Ecto Core, in a way that was like, oh, that isn't on the clock. It just, you know, it sounds glitchy and it sounds nice. But I like to flood this with reverb. And then transition and bring it out. It's just a really easy way to transition over. Now this Hermod sequence isn't running, but on the flip side, if I hit play, I'll flood it with reverb. Here's my Hermod sequence. Transition over, and then I can come out of this. And, I mean, this might not be news to anyone, but when I got Metal Fetishist, I was kind of like looking at it like, oh, I'm worried it's going to be a one-trick pony, and everything is like super performative until you get it, and it's just another drum synthesis voice. There's something about this box that just being on stage, like, I don't know, it's really special, and I don't know if it's just because I mesh with it or what, or maybe you won't, maybe I don't know, my monkey brain likes to see the physical box with the loops, but I just feel like, and by loops I mean the step looping you have here. For me, when I get into a step loop and I get especially into this territory on stage where you're messing with the division, so I'm going up in division of the tempo, adding random skips, it just like, I'm not intimidated of doing that live, which is really fun. And maybe I should be, but it hasn't burned me yet. So for that reason, I really love doing those pair, and it's fun too. I don't have the mixer hooked up right now, but kind of, as people were calling it, the interplay between the break beats and the Metal Fetishist. So I think I've said enough on that pair. I talked about it in the last video, but yeah, I really like that duo. What is mostly going to change in that part of it, whatever changes I make to the rack, or I'm planning to make to the rack, or I'm considering making to the rack, nothing's changing on that Ectocore to Metal Fetishist pairing. I really like that, unless I was at a gig where I didn't want to bring any external boxes, but I think I'm going to be stuck with the Eurotrack L6. So, on that note, maybe before we get into the actual module specifically, again, Eurotrack L6, taking off fisheye for a moment just to zoom in on it here. Yeah, I am going to do a video on this one eventually. I was using the blue box before as well, and the 106 was part of where I was like, well, I can't get away entirely from that 104 because I need a 5-volt rail to power that blue box, but then I was like humming and hawing about how to make that happen alongside the other cases and stuff, and I recognize that, yes, I am ending up with another desktop case outside of the 6U, 5U case that I mentioned before, but for me and my bizarre setup here with my mic input, my Eurotrack in, I'm clipping, sorry, there's just some things that like are so much better in the Eurotrack world. I had so many issues with popping with the blue box. I had so many issues, and I spoke to them. They said it was an iPad issue because I'm trying to conform it to the iPad, and the iPad's accepting it. And Final Cut Pro for iPad is expecting a different sample rate than what it's outputting. And then there's a specific boot order that I had to try and do, and I won't demonstrate it now or you'll stop hearing my voice, but where on this iPad you have to plug it into the blue box on the blue box side first, then reboot the blue box, and then if you started Final Cut for iPad Pro first and then connected it, then it would work, but then sometimes there wouldn't be audio, and it's just like, to get the Eurotrack L6 for the first time and plug it in and see it connect without fail. I've yet to have it not connect via USB-C, and you might laugh at how silly that sounds, but like I genuinely every shoot would spend like 5 minutes messing with the stupid blue box trying to get it to connect to this stupid iPad. So yeah, this is a godsend, and having an extra layer of compression is also super appreciated. Now, I didn't do that in the live set. I'm just jumping ahead because it'll get an episode of its own someday, but yeah, another layer of compression is great. And then one weird thing, too, about the set, I actually put the headphones on while we were doing it and just had it in my headphones because they had stage monitors on there that were, like, horrible. And they sounded, like, so tinny, and it's fine. I don't need, like, a bunch of bass. But I think they were, like, the stage was just, like, pummeling the audience, and then the monitors on the stage were kind of for vocalists, like they were super trebly, super mid-rangey, and I was just like, I couldn't hear it at all. So I put these headphones on like while I was performing, which was super weird, but it actually worked out pretty good because I could just like, there was lots of volume obviously bleeding in, but it was the same source as was in the headphones, so cranked up the monitors to pummel my hearing as well, and actually really helped out because it made it a lot easier to hear what was actually going on because, yeah, don't have to rely on the house sound that way, which was super appreciated. So let's throw this fisheye back on here and go over to the rack. So again, what's changed? X-Fade is the same. I did add the WMD muscle compressor, and I don't know if this is just, it feels that way because you're adding it, but I felt like it made it hit harder. Like, and again, the whole set was this interplay of just muting and unmuting, transitioning between sequences. Another issue with this, and I'm going to run into this here probably, somebody mentioned in one of the practicing live streams, I think, that they were like, hey, you're not lining up your transitions properly, you need to count them, basically. And I think it's not always exclusively because I'm doing it wrong. It's in part because these buttons don't work super well, and they're probably going to here. But even during the line set, I was like, just mash them until your transition is done, because you can't really rely on just hitting them. It doesn't always work. And I don't know if it's my unit or not, but it's not even as bad on this project where I have all my sequences on a lower row, which if I was smart, I would do that for the other ones. But if I go over into another project, let's just do this junglist one, load and update. Of course, now it's doing it all perfectly fine. But when I was on stage and in those live streams too, it just like was super finicky. Hey, you know what? If it's going to do it now, I'm totally happy. before this video becomes insanely long, let's go through the modules. I have 3U 5-volt USB power. I was thinking of actually, I have a USB to 9-volt adapter that I was thinking of running the Metal Fetishist off of, but I chickened out in the end, and I was like, okay, I'll just use it for a USB light thing that I have. It has sort of like a gooseneck bendable thing to light up the rig. Forgot that, didn't bring it to the show. I could see fine, it was okay, but yeah, didn't end up using this for anything. LXR drum, I really like it, and if I had any brains, I would come to these gigs with my own creative presets, and that's probably, if I have more time, something I plan to do later, but I've been just kind of really enjoying recycling some of these sequences from other gigs, like we were just listening to that other part that has made its appearance in a bunch of different sets. It's not this one, but I just like the ability to recall an entire drum kit in one patch is really powerful. I really like it. It gives this, like, I don't know, I guess I'm imprinted very much by playing in live bands, playing in like punk rock and indie rock bands, where there needs to be like a song flow, right? And everybody constantly in my sets is saying like, oh, just slow down, you don't need to go so fast. But in my mind, I'm always like so worried it's going to be so repetitive and boring. Like I want to have unique sounds all the time. And I think I'm like song brained because I want to recall and make all of these different pieces totally distinct. And I need to think about how to slow down, of course, and work on my set. All these things come with practice, and the only way to do so is basically by preparing for a show and seeing how it goes, I think. But what I do really like is the ability to do new sequence and recall the entire drum kit sounds to really make them distinct. And I have had some thoughts, and I might actually end up going this way, to go to the SSF drum modules, like get the Ultra Kick in there, the Ultra Perk, the Metalloid, because I really love them, and I might say that those things all sound better than the LXR. Like some of the kicks on the LXR are awesome, but when I'm preset surfing, sometimes they're not as great on one as they are on the other. But my worry with those is that I'm going to end up with a set where all the voices sound samey for the entirety of it. With the LXR, when I can recall an entire kit, that entire drum sound has completely changed per song, right? And I really like that. So again, that's the part where I want to put it out to y'all and say, like, what do you think? Like, I mean, you could also just pair the LXR with like the Ultra Kick, and then but then there's a space consideration. So I don't know, that's kind of where I'm at with that. I'm happy with how it sounds. I'm not disappointed in it in any way, but I also am like, maybe there's a way I can start ducking the master compressor as well, which is not something I'm doing currently with the LXR because I don't have like the output set up to dedicate the kick out or anything like that. So something I'm considering doing. I could also, maybe I'll use this segue here. Forgive the pile of cables, you know how Eurotrack goes. 2 voices I have in here currently. BIA, that could be my kick, right? A lot of the times in the set I was using this. These two, I know it's funny, they're both 10 HP. The BIA and the Surface by Qubit. These are just like so versatile, I feel like, and so easy to tweak. Like there's never anywhere on the BIA where I really like feel like you can get so far away from nice sounds. Like it's super versatile and these are all totally different. But I always feel like, you know, you're only 3 knobs basically away from your original sounds, right? And your envelope, of course, but parts in the sets. And if I remember correctly, actually, I took the pitch out for the variety, or for the majority of this too. Because sometimes when I got on stage, I was like not happy with some of these sequences I wrote. Yeah. And if I remember correctly, in my set list I wrote, I had the Surface on there. There's something very, when you think physical modeling, you think like, I don't know, like ambient music. There's something very like, I don't know, clubby, techno-y, nostalgic, I might say, about the Surface, and I really like that. But I also really like that, like, you know, performance-wise, I can just mangle whatever the hell I want here. Like, it's not, like, I'm not intimidated to do that because it'll always be in a decent range. Anyway, more interesting to talk about than those two, I would say, is the Bagar. I was kind of thinking about, I find I wasn't using this distortion, this VCA too often. It does add some level of compression, which I do like, but I'm using distortion elsewhere, notably on the Shard. And I will say, I think the Shard is going to go out of this case. I really like the Shard. I really love how it distorts drums. But on stage, it is so unruly. Like the whole setup, like I got everything set up and I was like, okay, let's mess with the Shard until it sounds good, because getting it into sweet spots is so challenging, right? And I love the ability to sort of blend it in, which I'm doing on the MFD here. Yeah. Lots of compression required, right? But it just goes 0 to 100 so quick, and I'm creating my own send bus with the MFD, right? And yes, I love how that sounds, but I just, in the context, it was like, I don't want to ever feel intimidated by things, if that makes any sense. Like, I want to, I don't know, I want everything to be jammable, playable. I want to be able to, without having to overthink it, right? Just grab stuff and go, right? I want the performance to be that, right? And again, I love how this sounds. I'm just like, I don't know, it's too unwieldy for this set. So that's probably going to go for, I don't know, I was even thinking of making the Ghost sort of the drum effects bus, right? We'll move Desmodus down to be like a master reverb. I haven't talked about Desmodus yet, but you know, it's one of my favorite reverbs and I really like it there. I was thinking of swapping it for the Ghost though, and then this could be a stereo drum, compressor, tone, distortion, volume, VCA, reverb, everything for the drum bus, because I really like doing that. And then I'll have to figure out some sort of, I don't know, end of chain stuff for it here. So again, put it out there to y'all. What do you think I should do here? I have Pam's new workout here as well, which is interesting. I have one LFO coming out of the first channel and going into the 410 by WMD. And that is controlling different things at different times in the set. I actually unplugged it even, but yet think in the set I was actually using this to modulate the distortion behavior on the Bagar, so I could kind of have a clocked triangle pumping that distortion a little bit in time, which was cool, or moving it over the MFD where it would go like. And I do believe I did that in the set. But yeah. Pam's Pro, I never thought I would take it out of the main Mega Rack, but found it was really useful even just as a clock divider here. I'm clock dividing the Data Bender, the Ghost, the Performer. Didn't realize how much higher my clock division was than the Data Bender probably would have liked, so it's actually nice to hear it in these lower clock divisions, even with like 160 BPM we're going at right now, right? So yeah, I think that is going to stay in this case, right? If I need it for anything in the Mega Rack, it can just come out of here, right? It should stay near her mod, right? So yeah, the joystick also came out of here as well, which, you know, just a space sacrifice, which is kind of a shame. I like just, you know, a cheesy performance tool like that in the set to be able to wiggle on something. But again, I don't know, when space is tight and you're giving up 12 HP for kind of a novelty that I replaced with a triangle wave from Pam's there, I don't know, maybe it'll find its way back in on this re-rack. But what I'm thinking, now that we've gone over everything other than the Bitbox, I was playing some samples on here. I started my set with some classic sample by Sly and the Family Stone, Love and Hate. I love that song. I do not hate it. I played a flip of a Hermit song in the middle as well, Barry Egan. This time I played a different one at my last live set, but it was really fun on stage to just come in here, and this isn't hooked up to a mix or anything, but coming in here and noodling with the pitch just on the macro knob to kind of like, I don't know, super SoundCloud it out, basically. So yeah, and then the effects are unchanged. They're awesome. I really like them. Yeah, I think what I am going to do, though, is take the Shard out, move the Ghost up to the top. Maybe I will even bring in this Overseer, which is my beloved DJ filter. Maybe that can come in, so we'll have like two DJ filters, one master filter for the drum bus here on Ghost, and then the final Overseer filter on there. So maybe I'll post right now a picture from Modular Grid of what I'm thinking for all of this, and I'll put it up to y'all, see what you think of it, what you would change, some recommendations, or what you feel I'm missing, just just remember this is for the live rig and the recording rig, I guess. This way I always have my hands on the final effects and the sequencer, but then, all the deeper stuff, the, drum bus, the more in-depth drum modules here, I guess you could say, are going to be in the rack. So it doesn't mean, you don't have the multi-mod or something, you don't have a oscilloscope or something. This is just for this case. So what do you think? Sorry about this one for being an extra yappy episode, but I feel like it's a good time to catch up, talk about things, where it's at. I love playing live. I sort of don't know if that place was the place for us. I love making music. I love playing clubs like that. I've played lots, but I don't know where or if I can find a place to fit into live performances and what a venue would look like for that. And on that note too, I'm sort of wondering too, all my recorded songs have vocals in them, so I'm also thinking, like, do I bring in my mic setup and try and find a way to distort and mangle my vocals? I have instrumentals of those tracks I could use my voice on top of if people like them, but people have also responded positively to the instrumentals. I haven't had anyone say, I thought you were going to play those live songs yet, but we'll see. Maybe one can fit the room. Maybe we can do a mix of the two. I want to hear your thoughts on all of that too. So, hey, I'm Tafony. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, take care, like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next video.